Manchester's real glory was a continuum of first-class rock and roll.
Beckham into Sheringham, and Solskjaer has won it!
Mike's up. James did it.
Hey,
He
well
did it,
done,
man.
James Young did it there. Sorry, I was just blowing my nose then when we were...
A better performance than Man United already.
Nicely done. That's Scotty, I'm Motty. This is Scotty Motty. I'm producer James Young there, who's set the standard, the gold standard, by playing the opener. Big thanks to Talk MU, by the way, for making that opener. Forgive me, because I'm a bit bunged up.
Yeah?
Yeah, through perfectly legitimate means. I've got a cold. Not like back in the day, Mr. Scott, when me and you met.
Why's your nose running?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, why are you 4 hours late for work? Yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Anfield because I don't know about you, Scott. I always like your take because you have an art of ranting without ranting, if that makes sense. You can get your point across in a, without just going off on nonsense. But I feel slightly philosophical now. I've had the sort of, the anger's subsided, the bewilderment, everything, all that sort of emotions. And now I'm just a bit like,
It's happened.
yeah, bring on real betters. Give us your thoughts on it, brother.
Well, I stopped watching at 4-0.
He's not daft.
So I can only give you the first
okay.
goal.
Was that for your own mental health benefit?
My own sanity. Yeah. I just thought, fuck this. I'm very philosophical as well. To be honest, I remember not to drop this clanger in there, but when I met Sir Alex Ferguson in last summer, and he was doing a speech on that he learnt more from failures than he did success. I'm trying to look at the 7-0 drubbing in a positive light because I think United have been riding the luck for a lot of the games.
Yeah, you did say that the other week.
Yeah, because we've been heavily reliant, as the whole world can see, on Marcus Rashford. Sooner or later, that was going to, come to an end. We can't rely on him forever. And I just don't think we've looked brilliant in any of the games we've won. Leeds, West Ham, Leicester. Barcelona was a different kettle of fish, but I think we raised our standards for that.
I actually was more impressed with Barca away,
Yeah, Barca away, yeah.
Yeah, than the win at home.
Yeah.
I thought the away performance surprised me. Look, obviously, they had Gavi and Pedri there, and they lost that big loss for them in the return leg. That gave me confidence in this team. I thought, that's a performance that says something. But you're right. And I do feel like, I don't want to make excuses because, listen, there's no excuse for getting battered 7-0. 6-0 in one half against anyone, especially the Scousers. Come on, man. But I think one of the reasons you felt this was coming is because these players have been playing non-stop. We haven't got the squad, have we?
No,
really?
no. It was always going to, and I've tried to be as optimistic as I can. I still hold a level of optimism. I'm not going to let, what's the saying, one dark cloud doesn't ruin a sky.
Like that.
Yeah, so if I look at it that way, one bad performance. But yeah, they've been running to the ground, and it was always, it was always going to be a case of, could Ten Hag keep this going? We've been a lot more successful maybe in some of the cups than we anticipated at the beginning of the season. We may not have thought when we were getting beat by Brentford and Brighton back in August and September that we will need such a large squad depth because we're not going to be fighting on these many fronts in 6 months' time, and we're here. And that's what I mean. Is the positivity that you can take from the result yesterday is you can't get any more evidence that the squad is lacking depth, and we do need to have the investment. As much as Weghorst has become a cult hero, and we've all enjoyed watching him trying his hardest. You can't doubt the man's effort, but his ability is, there's a lot to want there, isn't there?
You bring me on to the first comment. Loads of people in the chat. I'm going to get through as many as I can tonight as well because you can help me out because I'm dying. Talk MU says, I can't blame Weghorst, but he's not really what we need at this club, not by any stretch of anyone's imagination. I think the problem with Weghorst is if he comes in and he's an option once or twice, and he can play well. I thought he did well in quite a few games. But when you have to play him every week and every game... He
shouldn't be starting.
No. And let's have it right. You look at Liverpool yesterday. Their front three, Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo and Mohamed Salah. I said this on the podcast earlier, I think. They could quite feasibly, next season, if those three start up front for them, get 90 goals between them. I know that's... But they could. They've all got 30 goals in a season once, I think. I think Gakpo has, and I'm pretty sure Nunes, and we know Salah has. You look at us, you just said it there. If Marcus doesn't score, where's your goals coming from? Anthony's not scored in the Premier League for 4 months.
We've only got one player. It's only Rashford's in double figures.
And you're relying on a player who, no disrespect to him, because I agree with everything you said about Weghorst, good kid. He scored 2 goals at Burnley last season. We've gone to Burnley and said, can we have him off you? And they've gone, yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
That says a lot. Now, that's not his fault, because he's doing a good job. But it shows that United are lacking that squad, like you said, to go for it on all 4 fronts. And you look at certain players. Bruno was getting pelters yesterday. And there's certain things that he's got to improve on, and it's not good enough. But I do feel like this is a player who's played left wing, right wing, 10, 8, 6, constantly. And there's times when he needs taking out of the game. And you can't afford to.
He reminded me very much of Wayne Rooney towards the end of his career. I mean, a lot of Wayne Rooney's career he was hardly ever played in the position that, in his best position. I think maybe he kept his temperament a bit better than Bruno does. But Bruno struggles to hide his emotions. His arms are always flaying all over the place. Listen, I don't blame him, man. If I was on that pitch, I'd have wanted to get...
No, do you think there was that? Because I thought there was, I thought...
I'd be getting red carded.
I thought Saul was looking for a second yellow at one point.
Yeah.
He was doing silly things, and I thought, is he like trying to get himself sent off, or has he just lost it that much? Because there was a few that just looked like they'd mentally checked out. And I feel that mental fatigue is a thing. If you're constantly playing. And the thing with United is, for the last 2.5 months, every game's been must win.
Yeah.
You've got to beat Barca. You've got to beat Forest in the Carabao Cup semi. You've got to beat Newcastle in the final. You've got to beat whoever it was. Was it West Ham in the FA Cup? No, in the FA Cup. You can't afford to lose that game. You've got to win the league games, because if you've got any chance of this title...
We had this conversation, didn't we, before we came to this before this sort of run of games. I think we said, if you had to prioritise something, what would it be? Do you know what I mean? And now it's... I'm pretty sure top 4 is safe.
I think we all said the Carabao, didn't we?
Yeah. So we have to go for that.
So now we've won it. We've achieved our goals.
And I'm pretty sure.
So anything else is a bonus.
Put it in the context of what we were expecting at the beginning of the season.
What were you expecting at the beginning of the season? And there's probably video evidence of this, but try your best to remember.
Top 6, I'd say. Imagine.
I said that. I didn't say I was expecting. I said there is a feasible outcome where we improve. You like what Eric Ten Hag's doing, and we finish 6th.
Yeah.
Because you looked at Chelsea went turbo. No one expected them to be 10th. The Scouts is always going to be there or thereabouts. Arsenal, you don't know. Bit of an unknown quantity. City going to be there. Spurs, I thought would do better than they have done. So you look at all those, you think it's not a given you're going to finish above 6.
No, not at all.
Now, Ten Hag's done well. Winning a trophy was a massive thing, and obviously being competitive in the league's been good, because Newcastle, if you look at them recently, they've fallen off a cliff, haven't they? I think they've drawn 6 and lost.
They can't score.
Yeah, well, I think they won 1 out of 8. I think. So you can see, and they didn't win the cup. Obviously we did. So it does seem like I'm going to get to you back in a minute. Let me just go through some of the chats. Good Vibes John says, I watched this. John Shin, if you don't know, my favourite person in the world. Says, I watched the second favourite person in the world.
Sorry, John.
Sorry, third after Younger as well. I mean, family, my mum and dad and my kids and everyone.
Favourite person who lives in New York?
Yep, nailed it. I watched a bit of Jay this morning, and the boss sounded like he got hit by a truck. Pick up some ginger and lemon and honey on the way home and make yourself a nice brew. Feel better, Chief. Yeah, my lady friend's been looking after me with some of that stuff. Glenn F in the chat, good to see you as well. He says he's been getting some stick off his Liverpool friends. Just don't have any, that's my motto. Solo in the chat, good to see him from the United Agenda. Go and check out them. Simon Andrews says, the problem is it gives everyone a chance to get their digs in and go nuts about it. We can't say anything. It's awful. We play again and get it out of our system. Are you worried?
No.
Why are you pretty calm about this?
Because we got battered by Brentford, went on a decent run. We got battered by City, post that went on a decent run. I just can't imagine that them players, regardless of the size of a foot that Ten Hag stuck up their ass, the sheer embarrassment of what happened on Sunday should be enough to sort of propel them to put out... Well, you can't put out a worse performance than that, can you? And
it was like that, wasn't it? Well, it mad that like everyone dropped their worst performance of the season at once. Like, usually, right, when you have like the 6-1 or whatever, you might go, well, Darren Fletcher weren't that bad, or someone, I can't remember, but you might go 1 or 2, like, or with the 6-3, Martial got himself a couple of goals, give him that. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, there's usually one person or two who've gone, But it was just like everyone
Yeah.
was terrible.
What's actually? I know we've lost 3 points, but we've only lost 3 points. It's the embarrassment, I think, and the pride that goes with getting spanked by Liverpool. And I think, you know, you just have to grow up here and say, right, put that behind you and just crack on and then concentrate on the you know, you use the bouncing back against City as your sort of evidence that you can do this before. You know, the problem is if you dwell on it too much and you do allow the sort of media hysteria that's going around this to get into your head, that's where your mental strength comes into play. And Ten Hag, you know, he seems to have, you know, some good Dutch stones that won't allow that. Good Dutch stones.
Good Dutch stones, yeah. Love that. Daniel Coe says, currently watching you guys whilst on the exercise bike. Your running makes me feel guilty, Jay. Right, don't ever let my running make you feel guilty, because the pace I was running at the other day, I was full of this cold. I said, I'm going to do 10K, right? I've got to do it. It's been match routine. In the morning, I go for the 10K. Took the kids swimming, went for a run. There was hedgehogs overtaking me.
That should have been a sign, you know.
Yeah, there was like people, you know what I mean? Like toddlers were going past me, and you know what I mean? Honestly, it was just squirrels. It was terrible. But I did the 10K, which in my head is like, you've done
what sort of middle class area do you live?
I made up the squirrels.
Where fucking toddlers are walking around on their own.
In fact, I'm down the canal. I'm down the canal, right? I'm down the canal from Eccles to Stretford and back. There ain't any toddlers and squirrels. It was just, I don't know, dogs.
Canal, they fry them around my end.
Where'd you go running?
Toddlers.
Where'd you go running? You don't have to give the specific area. I don't want you to dock yourself.
Down canals.
I love running down the canal.
Canal's good.
Do you know what I mean? Bit more scenic. I used to run down Trafford Park, right?
Yeah.
And it's depressing. Because you know what I used to do? So I used to run by places I've been sacked from.
Right, okay, yeah.
So they'll just give me a reminder. I'm going to get sat there for wagging work too often. Or get sat there for, do you know what I mean?
Since I moved back to mum and dad's been going around the old football pitch where I used to play.
Oh, yeah.
All the
Glory
memories
days.
and stuff. Yeah. Oh.
Hey.
Remember when I used to bang it in the top corner there against Staley with Celtic.
Decent standard.
Yeah.
That's Staley Vegas.
Yeah.
Glenn F says, Jay and you, Scotty, just want to thank you both for helping me with some days. It is a battle to stay sober, and yesterday I wanted to get out of my head, but I didn't, and you helped me with keeping it. Well done, Glenn.
Nice one, Glenn.
It's not
well
easy.
done.
And listen, I get that. People say it to me like, you know, do you want a drink when something like that happens?
Yeah.
But for me personally, the only way this day could have been any worse today, waking up with an hangover and knowing that I drank again or used again, and you know, not that it's the be all and end all, but 8.5 years down to Swanee, and then I've got to explain that to my missus.
What?
For
You know,
what?
yeah.
Because the Scousers beat us at a game of football. Not happening. Yeah, lots of love for Glenn F. Good to see. Kiss Dog says, hi, lads. Hope you're doing well, boys. Abdul Rahman Yasser says, evening, lads. Thoughts about Thursday? Are you worried they won't wake up? Also, do you think Eric Ten Hag needs to call up some kids from the academy to deal with the amount of games? You spoke about moving forward. What about the academy question?
I'd look at probably playing them in the league now.
Do you reckon?
I'll sort of bleeding them in.
If you had to pick someone, is there a player you think of, or just whoever's sort of next in line? Because Kobe Mainoo's been in and around. Zidane Iqbal in pre-season, and he hasn't gone out alone, has he, Zidane?
No. I thought he was going to be the one this season that was sort of... I mean, Garnacho's probably the one that sort of come through, hasn't it?
Well,
But
even more like in pre-season, he was flying, him and Savage. And then Savage went out alone, Zidane didn't. And you think, okay, maybe he's going to get some minutes. Kobe Mainoo was 3 years younger than him, I think, or 2 years younger than him. Leapfrogged him, didn't get him 30 games. It's been a bit strange with Zidane, like why he's not got more opportunities, and he's still not got out alone as well.
Yeah.
Do you know
Am
what
I right? Is there an international break coming up at the end of March?
Yeah.
So, fuck that. Play the strongest teams for them, and then they can get, like, rest.
Do you think it's a case of you do the old Fergie trick? Oh, Rashford's got a knock. Sorry, Gareth.
I would, yeah.
Rashford's got a knock. I hear whoever the Brazil manager is, Casemiro, yeah, he's pulled his muscles.
He's lost his passport.
Yeah.
And Anthony.
Yeah, and Anthony, they both lost.
Yeah.
I had them both, and I've accidentally lost them in the incinerator. Would you do that? Would you say, let's just sack off these internationals? You guys need a break, because a lot of these are played in the World Cup.
Yeah. True. No, I do. I try and get as much of the rest. And the friendlies as well, I think, aren't they? I don't really care too much for international football, but
I think you're one of the other people that cares about international football less than I do. Honestly, it's just like, what? Okay.
I don't know. He's got to make some sort of decision on what he's going to play for. Am I right? We're about 10 points in the top four.
Let's have a look, actually.
Spurs, I think Spurs getting beat at the weekend was a good result for United.
Yeah, because Spurs are proper Spurs in it this season, aren't they? Yeah, so United have played 25 games and we're on 49 points. Spurs have played 26 games and they're on 45. So if we win our game in hand, we'll be 7 points above them. The Scousers are now 7 points behind us, playing the same number of games. City, 9 points above us. Oh, there you go. James Young's on it. But you can see. The annoying thing about yesterday, other than the fact it was obviously humiliating and horrible, is we've given them a proper lifeline back into the top 4 as well.
Yeah, that'll be them getting top 4 this season.
Because they win their game in hand, then they'll leapfrog Spurs on goal difference.
Yeah, I think when I was getting all optimistic that we could actually maybe put a push for the title, that's that pipe dream's gone now. But Liverpool was the game that I thought would drop points out of the remaining games of the season.
So if we were gonna drop points, it was that one.
It was that one, I think.
So you still feel like we can do this?
What, win the league?
Yeah.
The Europa League, maybe now. Yeah.
Do you know what I did? I did one of those predictors, and I had us finishing at the top. But I had us beating Liverpool, so my predictors got out the window already.
Yeah.
Like I had, because when Arsenal won against Bournemouth and City won against Newcastle at the weekend, I thought, well, I predicted that in my predictor, and we still win the league. But I had us winning 2-1 at Anfield and we lost 7-0, so that's gone right out the window. So yeah, I mean, let's have it right. We were never going to win the league this season.
No, it was always going to, it's a dream.
Yeah, like I get every team is relying on certain players, like Arsenal rely on Partey and Saka, City rely on De Bruyne and Haaland. Who else is there?
We just can't. I mean, James is taking it down, but the goals for is embarrassing. It's nothing short of miraculous. It's nothing short of miraculous that we're in that top 4, given how few goals we've scored.
35 goals. I mean, that is You look at it. No, it's not 34. Sorry, 41 goals. So City have scored.
Brighton have scored
25 more goals than us.
Brighton have scored more goals than Man United this season.
Brighton are doing well as well, aren't they? I mean, you're right, it's still outrageous, but yeah, that's poor. And you're so reliant on Marcus out there. And let's have it right. Marcus is the type of player as well. He can pick up a knock, and he will play if he's got a knock, and he won't be 100%. You need other options, and we haven't got that in a minute.
I think we need to look at this season for what it is. The context of what we were expecting at the beginning was to have a decent sort of run, maybe in one cup, and hopefully get top 6, top 4 at a push. We're definitely going to get a cup. I'll put the house that my ex-partner lives in with the kids up. That will make that will get top 4.
That's emphatic.
Yeah, that will get top 4. So it's a great season, and I think what we can see here is a stronger blueprint than we'd hoped for of what football is going to look like under Ten Hag, and then we build on it.
Yeah, definitely. Get involved in the chat comments. Hit that like button. Also, Glenn F mentioned our Patreon. Extra content on the Patreon. It's, £2 a month?
Yeah.
There's a link in the chat to the Patreon. I get times around, but you get extra stuff on there. Obviously, this is on the main channel. We put a bit of extra stuff on there. Solo says, Jay, your prediction might come true. There's a lot of games left to play. Listen, someone else made a point about Ross Murphy says Odegaard has been good for Arsenal. He has. He's been phenomenal this season, Odegaard. I get every team has players they rely on, win or different. The difference is, if you look at City, Haaland's not really been banging him in lately. Other players have stepped up. Phil Foden had, 6 weeks off, comes back.
That's what I say, Foden's disappeared for it.
Yeah, then he comes back now and starts scoring.
Yeah.
We can't rest Marcus Rashford at all. If he stops scoring, we haven't got anyone stepping up. I don't really think we've got that many players who are, at the moment, capable of carrying the team if the goals are drying up from Marcus, and that's the sort of concern. I do feel like Ten Hag is the right man. Obviously, I'm not questioning that. We'll bounce back. I agree with everything you've said. He's right. If you need to take it, take it.
No, it's fine.
I do feel like Ten Hag's about his job. You can see what he's doing. I feel like we're ahead of schedule. It's just, you know what the annoying thing about it is you just know how many times you're going to have to listen to reminders about this.
Just mute. I like 2 seasons ago when Liverpool won the league, I muted the word.
They won the league?
I muted.
Did they though? If it was behind closed doors, does it count?
Well, they think they won the league. I muted the word Liverpool. Don't get anything on my timeline.
Really?
Yeah, just mute the word.
Mute the word Liverpool.
Yeah, mute the word Liverpool.
Liverpool.
All my mates who are Liverpool fans, block their numbers on my phone.
I was chatting about you last night.
I deactivated my account last night on Twitter.
You've got. I love that. I love it. You've got a mate who's a Mancunian Liverpool fan, haven't you?
I've got several mates.
Several? Because I was on a podcast last night with a Mancunian Liverpool fan, and it was burning me head out with his strong Manc accent talking about Liverpool, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right, this. But he's on 3 Points in the Gaff podcast. Mario, his name was, me, Pundit, Mike's, and Stephen Howson came on it last night as well. Go check it out. But yeah, it was like a Mancunian Liverpool fan. I said, like, my mate Scotty, he's got a few. And I know one of them, Nathan, who's a mate as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll put a link in for
I'm
the
not exactly
3
sure
Points in the
what
chat.
the basis of it. I know a lot of people, it's because of the John Barnes factor in the 80s.
Yeah, he was very popular, weren't he?
Yeah.
But amongst certain people, it's like, oh, Barnes plays for Liverpool, maybe like Liverpool.
And then my other mates who are Liverpool fans, their family's Irish stock. So
that could go either way, can't it, when you're United and Liverpool with Irish?
But, right, so I was thinking about, I meant to put a tweet out about this. So I know, I'd say maybe 5 Mancunian Liverpool fans. I don't think there's too many Manchester United fans in Liverpool. Can you imagine? I just can't imagine.
I know, right? There used to be a lad that come on the aways with us who was from St Helens, and he had a strong Liverpool accent, but he wasn't Scouse.
No.
Do you know what I mean? He wasn't from, like, Croxteth or whatever.
Like, I could walk through Manchester now and see a Liverpool shirt. I don't think you'd see that.
You know what? I am that guy as well that can't help but tut or whatever when I see, like, a Liverpool shirt in Eccles Morrison's. I'm like,
I'm not out. I've got the kids at school and it's like non-uniform day and some kids got Liverpool. I look at the parents in disgust.
Oh yeah, I know there's a kid in our my daughter's class, about my son's, his dad's a Liverpool fan. Because I remember he sparked up a conversation about football a bit, because he was like laughing at me about United getting beat. I thought he was a City fan, and then he went, "No, this is our year." And I was like, "What? You Liverpool fan?" He went, "Yeah." Why? You live in Earlham. Get a grip. You know what I mean? How's that happened?
Yeah.
Imagine as well, like, if you supported... Imagine if you were born in, like, 1980, around the time we were, and you supported Liverpool then, right? You started supporting Liverpool, and you've just watched United win everything for 25 years. Do you know what I mean? Whilst living in Manchester.
Thanks.
Yeah. Like, what was the point in that? At least I could understand it if you'd done it in, say, you were born in 1960, you watched the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
But,
well, it's like my eldest was born the same weekend when Aguero scored. The winner for City, so she's literally never seen United. I don't think yours have they win the league. Maybe
no, my eldest is 12. I've got a minute. Yeah, she's had some rotten luck, by the way. She's seen some horrible football. We took her to Old Trafford. I remember once we took her to the Derby game, not the Manchester Derby. The missus took her to United versus Derby under Jose when Frank Lampard was manager of Derby.
I was at that game.
And we lost 12-11 on penalties, I think. And I remember meeting them after the game because I was in my seat and they got 2 seats. And I met her and she was crying. She was only 7, to be fair to her. What else? She's seen a few. She has seen a few wins though, but there was a period where she went to about 5 games on the spin and we lost. That
was the same as my
4
eldest.
And drew 1.
Like when Jose decided he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden tickets came available. Like, come on,
you want to see Juventus? Ronnie's playing.
Yeah,
we lost 1-0.
And usually when we go to the football, I don't want to run down to buy any sweets at half time or anything like that. When that football was that bad, I was like, "Chush, we're going to get something from the..."
I will buy you something, don't you worry about that. We'll pay a £5 for chocolate.
It's only like 12 minutes into the match. Now we're all right, just get off now.
Do you know what I love, right? I took my lad to watch the Chelsea game last season, and we drew 1-1, and Ronnie scored, and he used to be obsessed with Ronaldo, and I think he thought we'd won, and Ronaldo had scored the winner. I didn't have the heart to tell him anything otherwise. He was 6 at the time, he's 7 now, and all the way home he was just rapping about Ronaldo and how he's the greatest and all that. So now, like, obviously this season, I've had to tell him how Rashford's the greatest. Marcus Rashford. Thankfully, as I was telling him this, Marcus Rashford just went on his scoring spree. And every time he watched football, Rashford scores. So he's convinced that he thinks the hierarchy's like, he's obsessed with Messi and Mbappe, by the way. So he's like Messi, Mbappe and Rashford, which, I'll take that.
Yeah.
We'll get into some of the chats. Miss Man United. Oh yeah, here we go. She says, he's in your eldest year, but believe it or not, there's one in the other 2 classes too. I told them to ignore them today. Oh yeah, that's a missus because me kids were asking about what do we do if Liverpool fans pipe up today.
Kick them.
Well, we said ignore them, but if you want to follow the long side,
kick them to the curb.
Influence. Before we wrap up, we're not wrapping up yet. We'll talk for another 10 minutes. I wanted to ask you about the Chris Rock special.
Yeah,
because I only saw the Will Smith bit. I've been looking forward to him talking about the Will Smith thing because you knew he was going to absolutely annihilate Will Smith.
Yeah.
Like, that is the worst thing you could have done if you're Will Smith. Slap Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars because you know he's going to come for you. And to be fair to him, he's done little things, but nothing major, has it? Until now, he did a live show that was streamed live on
It's like
Netflix.
3 a.m. in the morning, wasn't it?
Which is, yeah. And Chris Rock, he's up there with the Chappelles of this world, and I don't say that lightly. You watched it all. What was it? Tell us about
I loved it because so it's called Social Outrage, and I think it's the first of 2 specials that he's going to be doing. I'm not sure if the second one is going to be live. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it was vintage Chris Rock.
Okay. I mean, was it, yeah, vintage is like...
I don't think it's not as good as it was like early in... No, I prefer his early stuff. Like,
we are old, aren't we?
The bootlegs.
Hey, went downhill when the internet started.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
But yeah, no, it was really good. And I seen loads of people on Twitter saying like it was a low blow having a go at Will Smith. The man slapped him on stage at the Oscars.
Also,
how are you not going to expect... Yeah. And he slapped a comedian. What do you expect him to do?
And also with that, you know one thing I hate? I hate when people kick off with people who are at work. You know, like someone goes into a restaurant and kicks off with a waiter.
Oh, yeah.
Or the barman. Do you know what I mean? In a pub. Or whatever. Because you know full well that barman's not going to glass you or twat you, because if he does, he's going to lose his job. And I always think it's a bit of a shithouse thing to do.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're at work, you're being a knob, you're kicking off with them, because deep down you know they ain't going to fight back. They're not going to one-hour you.
No.
So you're just performing in front of your mates or your missus or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate when I see that. I've worked in a lot of bars over the years, and I've seen a few times, and it always winds me up to think, you're just a bit of a coward there. Do you know what I mean? And I've also seen some barmen who've actually gone, do you know what, fuck this, I'll quit my job, let's go outside, I'll do you in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And the most, like, 99 times out of 100, they shit themselves and apologise. And I felt like that with Will Smith. Like, he hit Chris Rock, knowing Chris Rock ain't going to do nothing back to him. He's in an environment where it's a comedian telling jokes. He laughed at first as well, along with him.
Yeah.
And then obviously thought, oh, I'm in my room, she's not laughing.
Because she side-eyed him.
Yeah. And it was harmless. Like, and also, if you're not happy with it, don't laugh. Say, nah, man, I'm not laughing at that.
Did anyone smack Ricky Gervais?
No, and he said a lot worse.
And he went a hell of a lot harder.
He went
on everybody.
double barrel on Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, proper hardcore.
Like, relentless.
Yeah.
Nobody went up and smacked.
And he was saying, don't he, like, everyone took it in good nature and was laughing along. And it was, all right.
But that's the thing with the whole Will Smith, it wasn't because of what Chris Rock said. It was because of what his wife did and what the issue that they've got in their marital home, however you feel about them talking about that in a public sphere. And I think that's what Chris Rock was getting to. And he makes the example that once it all came out that Jada Pinkett Smith had interviewed him about how do you feel about me having an affair. Sort of thing,
I seen that bit.
which is wild.
Yeah.
And he said everybody like across like hip hop culture was just calling him a bitch for it. Like, so they were saying like drink champs, that's like Noriega. Said that like X, Y, and Z were calling you. Chris Rock actually tried to phone Will Smith to say, "Are you okay?" And he didn't pick up his phone.
Yeah.
And like, so it's obviously there's some sort of ally there.
Yeah.
So he knows fine well, like when Chris Rock's saying it on stage, saying these jokes on stage, it wasn't a joke about that.
No.
But Will Smith obviously has all this pent up stuff based off that's built up because of the situation, and then smacked a defenseless man on stage. And I mean, fair fuck to Chris Rock. I thought he was nicer about it than I expected.
I thought he was funny, which is important. He wasn't just a rant. He was actually pretty funny. And you saw that, like, Will Smith just embarrassed himself in that whole situation. And maybe like Chris Rock said, my parents told me to never fight in front of white people. And I thought, like,
yeah.
And what made me laugh about that whole Oscars incident, and Chris Rock sort of mentions this about the whole concussion thing, and when he made a joke about Jada Pinkett, didn't he? Because she wasn't invited.
Because she tried to get him not to do the Oscars, didn't she? Because Will hadn't been nominated.
Now, have you seen Concussion?
It's shit.
His accent is atrocious, right? He plays I think he's a Nigerian, he plays in it. Terrible accent. Film's okay-ish, so you might, fair enough,
It's up there with Tom Cruise's Irish.
Yeah, but the accent's awful. That, to me, is not an Oscar-nominated performance by any stretch of the imagination. Will Smith doesn't get nominated. Now, the Oscars So White hashtag had already started, I think, the year before, but that gave him more attention. Jada Pinkett Smith says, I'm boycotting the Oscars. Chris Rock says, you're boycotting something you never invited to anyway. That's like me boycotting the party in Rihanna's pants or whatever he said. She sees her ass, obviously, so there's something going on there.
Yeah.
The whole stuff pops off with Will Smith when the world's laughing at him. He feels a bit emasculated, probably. And then he reacts in a way that he did. And it was just like, it was just all embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? And then what made me laugh is afterwards, he came on stage And it was like everyone was cheering and applauding him, and he was like, he'd been the victim.
Yeah,
Like-
the way you switched that.
Yeah, like Denzel just told me when the devil comes for you.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'd love to slap you.
I'll be
Denzel
honest.
Washington gives me an arm around my shoulder.
I'll be honest, his performance actually accepting the Oscar was better than his performance in Concussion.
I agree. It was. And then he's at the Taj Mahal posting pictures of him doing peace signs and all this.
I mean, I grew up loving Will Smith. I'm pretty sure you were very much the same. You know, he used to like a goofy older kid, slightly nerdy, but also.
I liked Fresh Prince
Yeah.
when I was a kid. And I liked, what was the I liked Bad Boys when
Yeah.
I was a teenager. That was a great film.
He started off a great joke in school. So I thought this the other day.
Go
So
on.
there used to be a real gossip in school, and like you could tell her anything, and she got it like it just spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
So when Bad Boys came out, we were like, me and my mate Nathan, the Liverpool fan, full enough, said, like, yeah, I think Bad Boys 2 is getting cancelled. And she was like, making a Bad Boys 2? I said, yeah. So Will Smith's been like, he's paraplegic now. So he's had a bad car crash. Like, he wanted to do his own stunts. She was like, really? I'm not joking. You should have seen that shit fly around school. Everyone kept coming with it. Have you heard about Will Smith in Bad Boys 2? I'm like, nah, no way. I don't know where you were
That's so
going. but-
weird. That's so weird, right? I remember at school, I'm not making this up, it sounds like I'm, but so there was a rumour going around that Will Smith was dead. Right? In my school.
Fucking hell, I wonder if
That's weird,
That's
right?
how far that spread.
But it was in like the early 90s.
This is before the
internet, so you couldn't Google it. Because now you just go, well, he's not dead. He's,
Yeah.
you know.
There's actually a website.
He tweeted 2 minutes ago, like, with a video of himself. Like, there was a rumour going round, and it was like post Fresh Prince, pre Bad Boys, whatever, probably 92, 93, that he died. And I remember it wasn't like, how do you find that out? You're at school. You don't go to the library and get the Will Smith, updated autobiography out. Like, there's no, you know what I mean? Like, you don't ring up someone and go, hey, have you spoke to Will Smith recently?
Yeah.
So it was very difficult to find that information and to prove it was false. So for about 6 months, the rumour was that Will Smith was dead. And then I think Made in America came out and he's in it. And it was like, no, he's not dead. He's in a film with Whoopi Goldberg.
Made in America? Is that where
No.
is that where is he adopted?
It's Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's terrible.
What's it? Is it 6 Degrees of Separation? Isn't it?
Yes, that's where
It's not a
he-
bad film in that.
That's probably one of his best performances. That he plays the guy who pretends to be Sidney Poitier's son, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just feel the whole. And if you've not seen the Chris Rock thing, you recommend it, yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Rock's always good TV. I think he's probably lost his standing to Dave Chappelle in recent years. I mean, they toured together, didn't they, recently?
Yeah.
And you did say on this podcast that me and you would go to watch that, and we never did. But I digress. Yeah, so it's well worth watching. Social outrage. Actually, we were talking about stuff like last week about because it reminded me a lot about people's hysteria about Qatar buying Manchester United. We spoke about this.
I wanted to get your take on
We
this.
spoke about this. Well, and I went on a rant, very badly worded, because I allowed the 46 cups of coffee that I'd had that day.
It was quite, because it made me laugh. We tweeted out, like, it got very heated, and I thought, well, I didn't get heated. I was all right, like, I'm not being funny. Like, I was listening to him, make some good points, but you did go on a rant, and it was like, for you, that was quite rare, because you don't usually shout.
No,
But
I don't think I was shouting.
No, I beg to
Was
know.
I
Yeah.
shouting?
Yeah, I think, not at me. You were
not-
shouting
yeah.
at the
When I shout,
proletariat,
yeah.
And I was a bit like, and everyone, like, some people did ask if you'd had a coffee.
Yeah, I'd had a lot of
But
coffee.
you got very animated about it, which is, it's all
Yeah.
good, and it'd be like that. What's your take on it with the developments? Because I know there was a time when you were you didn't want that, did you? Because I remember you tweeting a little while ago.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna stand on a soapbox, as I will have done in the past, about saying that I care about certain things when I'm making absolutely zero effort to try and stop them things. There's two issues. There's the issue: are you upset at Qatar buying Manchester United, or are you upset? Because? Sorry, let me start this
Go
again.
on.
Fucking operator.
Sorry, the floor is yours.
You either do not like Qatar's human rights abuse record. That's one thing.
Yep.
Or you don't like the human rights record being attached to Manchester United. They're two. And I think
Right, so you're saying they're separate.
yeah, of course. I think that. I think most people's problem is that it could tarnish Manchester United. Whereas I think if you really are against the human rights stuff, and that's why I made the World Cup reference previously, is that if you do. Well, why have you stopped all your fucking campaigning once Messi's picked the World Cup? That's where I stand.
I think, to be fair, I think a few people have said that it's the other. It's they don't want the right. It's not necessarily the human rights. It's just getting it tied to United.
So that's hypocritical, then, isn't it?
Yeah, if you don't care about human rights record, that is
No, you're using somebody else's pain.
Could you be both though? Could you both be? I don't like the human rights record. I don't want it signed to United.
Yes, but I mean, how much do you not really like the human rights record? Because, and then like when people say they don't like the human rights record on social media, or anyone commenting here, what is it you don't like? Tell me the number of people you don't like. Show me the last. Like, how invested are you in the human rights abuse
What
record?
made you change your mind? Because I remember you sort of tweeting like you didn't want Qatar, you preferred Jim Ratcliffe about 2 months ago. So what's made you change your mind?
No. I would prefer Jim Ratcliffe out of the.
Sorry, you said preferred. You did say that. You did say I don't really want either.
No, I said prefer, but I just find a lot of people quite hypocritical.
I think that's life though as well, you know, bro. And I think there is.
I
do. What I mean? I think you're right, but
and that ties very much into the sort of social outrage, because he was saying, he goes, you'll get all these, because he goes in on what.
Someone said, someone said, Scotty got more heated at James interrupting him last week.
Thank you. Yes, and you're doing very well tonight, James.
Only because we took his microphone.
Yeah. Well,
I'm only messing. We didn't take it off him. We just didn't set one up.
But yes, Chris Rock actually says in the social outrage stand-up, he says that all these woke activists putting tweets out on phones made by child slaves.
You see, this is one thing that worries me, you know. I think Chris Rock knows what woke is. I think he understands what that word means.
Of course.
And I think, you know, I know you do, and I know there's a lot of people that do, but I think there's a lot of people that don't. And I think it becomes this umbrella term sometimes, you know, when you say, wokeism.
There's a good documentary on BBC.
Wokeism. I saw someone, right, and it fucking infuriated me. Sorry, I'm just trying to.
It's alright. I'll try and.
I'm just trying to remember. I can't remember who it was. I don't want to.
Do you have an iPhone or buy anything made in Bangladesh?
Probably. I mean, I do have an iPhone myself. Yeah. There was someone put a tweet out, one of these GB News ones, and it was like Danielle Deadweiler had been nominated for a BAFTA for Till. And she didn't win, and that's a blow for the woke brigade. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, but
what? That was an amazing performance. Like, her getting nominated for a BAFTA. How is that woke?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and I thought, have you actually watched that film? Have you gone to the cinema like I did and watched Till for the 3 weeks it was at the cinema in Britain? Did you, or 2 weeks? Were you one of them that went and watched it? Were you fuck? Do you know what I mean? And sometimes it becomes this umbrella thing for, anything that's different or, you know, a minority. That's not by you. I mean, by certain people. That's what worries me when you hear this.
It's anything.
It's just wokeism. You know, if you stick up for someone who's less fortunate, you're being woke. Well, I'm not. It's not wokeism.
Well, I think the right, or at least the far right, are using it as anything that's anti their view.
Yeah.
Wokeism.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it's like, when it's like, because you know what? You know, you say you mute the word Liverpool. Yeah. Sometimes I want to mute the word woke because it's just like, everything's either woke or anti-woke. And you think, well, it's not, is it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you can break that down even more, because when it's like, that's right wing, but then you'll have variations of that, or that's left wing, you can have variations of that. But it reminds me of, remember this is a bit of a reach, but you know the Alan Partridge sketch where she's buying the mini metro, and he goes, what is it, James? I'm not driving a mini metro. And I said, it's not, he goes, they've rebranded it, you fool. And it's just it's like PC correctness or political correctness gone mad. That's what they used to say, wasn't it, before Twitter?
Yeah.
Like, that was what it was, the PC brigade.
It's like when you milk a coffee, used to be a milky coffee, now it's a flat white.
Yeah. And you pay another £2 for it.
That's Gary Neville once said on Sky Sports. Scotty, as always, I've loved our chats.
Can I just say some words
Please do.
about, I found out some news yesterday about a friend that I had proper admired. Remember, you know, like when you're in school, like the cool kid?
Yeah.
So Jay Taylor, a friend of mine, a lot of my friends had passed away last night, and only young, and it's just, he was proper like twinkle in the eye. He's got all the girls sweet, like on football, top lad, massive Manchester United fan. And I was just like tripping down memory lane with a friend before I came in here, and we're talking about, and we're saying last time, I think the four of us were together, was in his brother's house, and me and him were just going, you know, like, I don't like to bite my tongue, and neither does he. And there was nothing but love in the sort of just ripping the piss out of each other for hours and then, do you know what I mean? And that was a sort of like it was sound as fuck, and it's just a tragic loss. So rest in peace, Jay Taylor.
Sorry to hear that, bro, and thoughts with you and his family and everyone. Sad to hear that, and obviously from what you told me, it sounds like a top lad and a good laugh. As always, love chatting to you. I think we're getting through this Liverpool thing Do you know what I mean?
It's done, man. Leave it in the past.
It's gone. It's old news, bro. You're living in the past.
It is,
Still
yeah.
talking about... How can you talk about Liverpool when Brentford are playing Fulham? That's where it's at.
I'm telling you,
Do
man.
you know what I
that's
mean?
it,
Come on,
yeah,
get a
yeah.
grip.
What you need to do, though, is you need to press subscribe.
Subscribe.
So subscribe. I've got Jonathan Wass.
Jonathan Wass, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.
We've got to paint
please.
one.
Big thanks to James Young.
Yes,
today.
Youngie.
He's not made one mistake today.
Youngie played the intro, had notes for us on the screen, the Premier League table, contributed. I think that is the opposite of a Manchester United performance yesterday.
Yeah,
that is a
man of
10
the
out of
match.
10 performance. Man of the match, James
performance
Young.
there for
Go and
James
check him
Young.
out. James Young TV.
Yeah.
Is it James Young _TV? James Young TV on the
I'm actually
on the
surprised he
Twitter.
bothered today, actually. He was on 5 Live this morning.
6:20 in the morning.
6:20 in the
Scotty.
morning, that's
Hey,
dedication,
doing God's
that.
work there, spreading
play.
the joy to the masses. And he came on the beam later on with me, the talking balls. Excuse me. Right, sounds like I'm.
All right, so
to an end.
I've been Scotty. That's been hopefully he'll be back next week. Otherwise, we've got a standing over there, and Scotty and Youngie works just as well. Probably just hard as Hardy as well. Subscribe, like, tell your friends. We'll be back very, very soon. Thank you, everybody that's been watching and commenting. And drop your comments where you've been watching. I can't believe where people have been watching from. Do you follow the comments afterwards?
Yeah, man.
It's all around the world, man.
Man's international now, fam.
Globals? I don't know what that meant. Right, I'll see you in a bit. Subtitle.